Hello, everybody. I'm Shy Ghost, aka Casey, and today I want to just go over some of my favorite albums of the year. I figured I should make a video discussing albums that I've enjoyed this year. Now, this isn't going to be a top 50. I'm just kind of doing this alphabetical order, so it's in no particular order. Just 50 albums that I've enjoyed this year. So let's get started. So the first album is Aesop Rock's Integrated Tech Solutions. Now, I personally think this was such a weak year in hip hop. Like, there wasn't too many hip hop records like really doing anything innovative this year. But here's the thing: Aesop Rock has always been on a different level. So with Aesop Rock, he's been around since probably the 90s, and with this record, I mean, he's just being Aesop Rock. Great rhymes, great beats, great stories on some of the songs too, especially on the song Aggressive Steven. I think that's like one of my favorite tracks on the album, if not my favorite. So, yeah, if you're a hip hop fan and you haven't checked out Aesop Rock, uh, what are you doing? Do yourself a favor. Check him out. Next, the new Arm& Hammer, We Buy Diabetic Test Strips, another hip hop record, despite me saying that this has been a weak year in hip hop, which, yeah. And what's funny is that after this one, there's another hip hop record. But I'm glad that Arm& Hammer came out with a pretty good record. I wasn't a fan of their last record, I have to admit. I thought the beats were good, but from a lyrical standpoint, it just didn't seem like it was leading anywhere on the last record. But on this record, there seems to be a lot more of a focus on the lyrics. As well, the beats are amazing too, as is, any Arm& Hammer record. So, yeah, I enjoyed this one a lot. And kind of sticking with the abstract hip hop theme, the next one is Billy Woods and Kenny Segal's collaboration project, Maps. So I thought this one was okay when I first heard it, but after multiple listens, I thought this album was pretty good. I have to be honest. Yeah, just great rhymes, great beats. There isn't really much else to say, honestly. I do like they seem to complement each other very well. Like, the chemistry is solid between them, and it's not the first time that they've collaborated. So, another thumbs up on this record. Next album I want to talk about is Caroline Polachek's Desire I Want to Turn Into You. Now, this is a pop record done right, in my opinion. Like, her vocal performances are powerful. The structures of the songs itself are solid. Like, we have some country influences, we have some disco influences, some Latin influences. There's a lot of influences going into this record, and that's what I like in a pop record. I like pop records that are very colorful and very instrumentation driven. I don't even know if that made sense, but yeah, just really enjoyed my time listening to this record, and I've come back to it a few times this year since it came back in March, I think. March, February. I could be wrong. But yeah, great record. Next record I want to talk about is The Chairman Dances, Small Comforts. It kind of blows me away that these guys aren't very well known, especially since I've listened to some of their other projects. And picture, like, if Belle and Sebastian made music with They Might Be Giants. That's what this band kind of reminds me of. So yeah, just very like quaint indie pop, just nice piano. It's just a very pleasant listen all around. So check out The Chairman Dances. It's really good. Next album I want to talk about is Chime Etherborn, I think it's called. So this is an electronic musician that I discovered. And Chime, he does kind of a lot of different things with electronic music. He does dubstep. There's a small bit of trance in there. And yeah, I haven't liked an album kind of in the dubstep genre in probably like a decade now. Like, it's been probably since I was a young teenager. So to hear a dubstep album like this be very like ethereal, it was pretty refreshing. So yeah, check it out. Next album I want to talk about is the new Dexter Manning album, Mostly Good Vibes. If you've ever seen the show Sanity Not Included, like that little YouTube show on Machinima, Dex was the British guy. He's also a video game developer, voice actor, kind of a jack of all trades, really. And he made this album called Mostly Good Vibes, and yeah, it is exactly what it describes in the album. It is mostly good vibes. And I came back to this album quite a lot, more than I would think. Like, and it's only like 20 minutes long, so if you have 20 minutes to kill, like, check this out. It's just a really fun electronic album, very dancey. Really like it a lot. Next, I want to talk about the new Eddie 9-Volt album, Capricorn. Now, my memory's not really fresh on this album because I haven't listened to it probably since March, but I remember enjoying it a lot, so that's why it's on the list. Lots of cool blues rock influences, just kind of this throwback garage rock, blues rock record. Vocal performances are great, the guitar work is cool, instrumentation is tight. Yeah, I like it a lot. So this next one's kind of an obscure one, but I found this artist on Bandcamp by the name of Flare with the album Preludes. Now this is a very minimalist album. It's like an experimental ambient record, and yeah, just so cool. Like the way he works cello and just piano and just quiet instrumentation, and with an album with no lyrics, being able to speak this strongly through the music. I always love instrumental albums like that can say a lot without saying anything. That's what I like in my instrumental music. Next, the new Foo Fighters album, But Here We Are. The Foo Fighters obviously need no introduction. They've been one of the biggest rock bands in the world, fronted by Dave Grohl. And yeah, this is a very personal record for the band, especially since after Taylor Hawkins' tragic passing. And they don't just touch on, his death. They just touch on life in general. What's going to happen to them? What's going to happen to their parents? Like, how are they feeling through all this? And, all the grieving and realization. Just really cool record, and probably their best album in a long time. I really like this record. So if you haven't for some reason checked out Foo Fighters before, check it out. Although I wouldn't start with this album. Try and listen to their first record. Next, I want to talk about the new Genevieve Artadi record, Forever. So Genevieve Artadi is another musician that I just kind of discovered this year. So she makes kind of this experimental pop music, and she's also in a band called Knower. And yeah, this is just a very, kind of what I said with the Caroline Polachek album, very colorful, very dense. Lyricism is kind of hidden in metaphors. Like, some of the lyricism doesn't make that much sense, but it's a cool listen all around. Like, I enjoyed it a lot. Next, I want to talk about the new Gregory and the Hawk album, Quarantunes. So Gregory and the Hawk has been around for a while. She's kind of an indie folk singer-songwriter. Yeah, just kind of like what it is with every Gregory and the Hawk record. It's just a pleasurable listen, just very pleasant, soothing. There's something very lonesome about it, but also very powerful as well. And it was definitely made during the quarantine, hence the album name, Quarantunes. Next, the album I want to talk about is the new Group Therapy album, I Was Mature for My Age, But I Was Still a Child. This is a hip-hop trio that I've been kind of on the radar since last year, and this is their debut record. And what a debut. What a great debut. I just love the energy of this record. And I love hip hop that's very energetic. They don't really stop the energy. It's just full go. And even when the energy stops, like, some of the hip hop pop songs that they make are just very cool and pleasurable, and a great kind of segue from all the energetic fun. Next, the new Hainali album, I think I'm saying that right, with Kiev Eternal. Now, Hainali is an ambient musician from Ukraine, and this album kind of touches a lot on the war on Ukraine, and the musician is kind of speaking about, well, there's no vocals in the record because it's an ambient instrumental record, but he did explain that it's just kind of what he's seeing and he's trying to describe it through his music. And I think it's just very beautiful the way he's able to do all this. And yeah, just very touching, a very pleasant listen. I think I've said the word pleasant so many times, but it is. It's just a very nice listen. Um, Yet it is a patient album. You do have to be patient, as is with most ambient records. But once you get kind of settled in and know the story behind it, you just kind of listen to this record and you just kind of get lost within the atmosphere. So next, the album by The Hives called "The Death of Randy Fitzsimmons." The Hives, they've been around for a while too, and they returned with their best album, I think, in a while, especially since they haven't even made an album in a while. And I don't have a lot to say about this. It's just great. I love the production on this thing for a rock record. Yeah, check it out. That's all I have to say. Next is the new Jerome's Dream album, The Gray in Between. Punk metal band. This album does not let you breathe. It is just full force, full go, heavy drums. The guitars are loud. Or if you listen to it with headphones, expect a headache, but in the best way possible. Next, the new Jessie Ware album, That Feels Good. I don't like it as much as What's Your Pleasure, but this is still a really good disco record, and I kind of like what Jessie Ware what she's doing with the disco influence. It's fun, it's kind of flirty. I like it. Next, the new John Cale album, Mercy. For a man who's in his 80s, John Cale still makes music and then still expresses all that with just heartfelt emotion. Like his voice, the timbre in his voice, the lyrics. It is a long album. It is over an hour long, but it's a great hour. Next, I want to talk about the new Kara Jackson album, Why Does the Earth Give Us People to Love? A very intimate kind of singer-songwriter folk record. I really enjoyed it. I love the vocals on it. I love the instrumentation. The production on it is really cool as well. Yeah, it is quiet, but in a very breathtaking way. It's so hard to describe. It's almost like you're alone in a desolate field, but somehow you feel okay with it all. Like you're taking in the nature itself, and this kind of plays as the soundtrack to it. So really, really cool stuff. Next, I want to talk about the new King Cruel record, Space Heavy. King Cruel, he's been one of my favorite acts for a while now, and he's just been dropping great project after great project, and this is another exception. I just really enjoyed the record. Everything that I've said about King Cruel in the past, it stands true right now. So yeah, great record. Next, the new Lana Del Rey album, Did You Know There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard? Oh, I know everybody's been kind of talking about how great this record is, but it's so true. The lyrics, the instrumentation, the stories on it all, the heartbreak. I could go on about this record. And this is an album. And what I mean by that is like, there's not really a lot of songs on this record that you could just put in a playlist, honestly. Like, it is an album that you have to listen to from track one to the final track. And I feel like that's such a great accomplishment, especially in these days where kind of the format of the album isn't really depended on as much. It's mostly the singles, but I'm glad Lana kind of stuck to her roots and made such a breathtaking, just powerful record. Yeah, check it out. Next, the new Laurel Halo album, Atlas. Laurel Halo has been another favorite musician of mine, and she makes this instrumental ambient record, just powerful. And as with any Laurel Halo album, it's just great production, and she just really knows what she's doing when she makes music, and just solid all around. So I have nothing to give but a round of applause for the record. Next, I want to talk about the new Lauren Daigle album, Lauren Daigle. It's self-titled. Now, this record isn't for everybody. Like, it is a Christian record, but some of the things she has to say on this record, the vocal performances, I did come back to this album and some of the songs on it quite a lot, and I wasn't expecting myself to do that, but it is a really good record. I like the instrumentation, like I said. The vocals are powerful because Lauren's a pretty talented vocalist. And the lyricism itself, I Just love how it doesn't take itself too seriously, but also it just kind of shows up in a powerful way without having to say anything grotesque. And I love that. Next, I want to talk about the new Lemon Twigs album, Everything Harmony. These guys sound like they are straight out of the 60s and in the best way possible. If somebody were to give me the CD and say, oh, this was an underground band in the 60s, and I listened to it, I probably wouldn't bat an eye. The production's so good, so maybe I would have thought it was like remastered or something. But yeah, this duo of brothers that kind of make this kind of 60s and 70s rock is just so cool. Kind of like Beach Boys a little bit inspired with some of the vocal harmonies and the guitar work, the drums, the pianos that come in. Just love this record. And I heard this back in October, and yeah, it's been in a few of my playlists for sure, definitely. So yeah, definitely check out Lemon Twigs if you're into oldies but want to find a new hip band. Next, and the final record I'm going to talk about until I get to part two, is the new Lil Yachty album, Let's Start Here. And I love the name of the record because it's almost like Lil Yachty is doing a reset. And I love that because Lil Yachty was one of those rappers where it was like, you don't know where he's gonna go. Is he gonna be like a Lil Pump or a Lil Xan, where they kind of had their 5 minutes of fame and then just kind of fell off because they weren't doing anything new or innovative and their sound got played out. And I was worried Lil Yachty was gonna fall into that same category, but he did a total, not only a reset, but just a new innovative project where it's not a hip hop record, it is a psychedelic rock and pop record. Lots of great vocals in it. It's got, Lil Yachty's signature auto-tuned vocals, but with this record, I feel like it adds so much to it. Nobody was expecting it. I wasn't expecting it. Yeah, I just really love the record. Yeah, I just really love the record. Especially the song Running Out of Time. That's like one of my favorite songs on the record. It's been one of my favorite songs this year. So, yeah, just for the innovation alone and how much care went into this record, I gotta applaud Lil Yachty on this one. It's just great, and I'm glad that he found something else to kind of be inspired by. So I'm excited for what else he has to make next. Anyway, this was fun to make. I'll see you guys for part two. Have you listened to these albums? Tell me if you have, and tell me if you love them or if you don't like them. I don't know. You can comment whatever. So I'll see you guys next time. Okay.